When I was new to War Thunder, I found myself commonly dying to people who I felt didn't belong at 1.0. I'm sure you've also been there, starting fresh only for a level 100 to roll up and smoke you. You see it a lot on Reddit. Why is a huge amount of level 100s playing tier 1? 100s at 1.0, what's the point? Level 100s who try hard in rank 1, why? Why? Why is the running theme, and it's what I'll be answering in today's video, or at least attempting to. You see, there is no one single answer, and I quickly realized it isn't just the typical seal clubber accusation. To those who might not know, a seal clubber is someone who is very experienced in the game, but purposefully plays in lower battle ratings to dominate over newer players. This artificially boosts their kill to death ratio, a process called stat padding, and it allows them to get into competitive squadrons for tournaments and whatnot. It might seem obvious at first that not every level 100 plays this way, but how exactly can you tell? And to answer that, I thought about it for a few days, but struggled with finding a reliable way to tell who's a seal clubber and who isn't. See, at first, I thought about simply looking at their most played vehicles, but quickly realized that wouldn't tell me anything. Maybe I could just look at their total matches played, but then I remembered that every level 100 has been playing for hundreds of hours at least, thousands of matches. And simply playing a lot of low tier vehicles isn't a good tell either, because they might simply be a World War II enthusiast. Lost, I sat on my toilet and played a little chess, and when I came back I realized the answer had been in front of me the entire time. Why not base it off of the total number of vehicles across the players' nations? Simply put, I would play a match at 1.0 and scan the entire leaderboard for level 100s. Then I would check how many vehicles they had unlocked in all of their nations. Then I would see what vehicle they were currently using, see what nation that is, and using that data I could determine if they were a seal clubber, low tier enjoyer, starting a new nation, or spading their vehicles. And for those who don't know, spading a vehicle refers to the little symbol that appears on its banner after researching all of its modifications. Before we get to the meat and potatoes, I'd like to point out that only a small percentage of you guys are actually subscribed, so if you enjoy the video, I'm super close to reaching 10,000 subscribers, and I hope you'll help. Now, let's set some ground rules for this study. I wanted to create a set of archetypes to assign to each player that I came across. These are seal clubber, low tier enjoyer, starting a new nation, and spader. A seal clubber has 100 or more vehicles in at least 2 to 3 different nations. The current vehicle that they are playing has to be in one of these nations. A low tier enjoyer has around 50 vehicles in at least one nation. Their other nations have a similar amount of vehicles or less. A spader does not have a requirement for the amount of vehicles they own. They simply need to have a high ratio of spaded vehicles to their owned vehicles. For example, a level 100 with 60 vehicles and 40 spaded would be more inclined to be a spader than a low tier enjoyer. And for starting a new nation, it was based on having a low amount of owned vehicles for the nation they're currently playing. This threshold is around 20 owned vehicles. The currently played nation also must have significantly less vehicles than their other nations, otherwise they are simply a low tier enjoyer. Now, this system isn't 100% accurate, but it's just a way to infer a level 100 player's main reason for being at 1.0. There are other factors that could lead to them being here, primarily who they're playing with. If a level 100 was in a squad, I did the exact same thing for each of their squad members. Depending on their squad mate's level, I assigned them an additional icon. H-N for helping a new player, H-B for helping a beginner, G-E for guiding an experienced player, and S if they were in a squad with similar people who were also level 100 or just not there yet. Further, I gave NN for if they were starting a new nation alongside their squad mate, and finally NS for nuanced squad. This is a squad where all of the players have varying objectives in the game, such as one being a spader and another being a seal clubber. To keep track of all of the players, I created a spreadsheet. You can find it in the description if you're interested in taking a look. So, as a quick example, if a level 100 was deemed to be a seal clubber, he would appear in the spreadsheet simply as seal clubber. But if he was in a squad with another one, it would appear as seal clubber S. If a spader was helping a level 5 player, it would be spader H-N. I think you're starting to get it, so I'll move on. To actually get the data, I wanted to play 50 matches in each of the 4 major modes: Ground AB, Ground RB, Air AB, and Air RB. After playing just a couple matches, I knew it would take a while if I didn't get some help, So I called in a few members from the WUB squadron. If you'd like to help with videos like this, come join our Discord. We're about to break 1,000 members. After finishing up, we had played 200 battles with 5,782 players in total, and to keep from messing with the data, we all played solo. This prevented it from becoming artificially inflated or deflated. Over the course of 3 days, I also created a system using ChatGPT 4.0 to accurately filter and assign archetypes to each of the level 100 players that we came across. By typing in the relevant data for a selected level 100, it could infer if a player was seal clubbing or simply enjoying World War II vehicles. Again, this isn't completely accurate and is only meant to be an inference. Now with all of that out of the way, we can start to look at some numbers. For Ground RB, there were 1,375 players across the 50 matches. 96 of them were level 100. They accounted for 6.9% of the players. 48 of them were classified as Seal Clubber. 34 were Low Tier Enjoyer, 8 were Starting a New Nation, and only 6 were classified as Spader. 8 of these players were assisting a new player or a beginner. For RRB, there were 1,207 players and 87 of them were level 100, or only 7.2%. 43 were classified as Seal Clubber, 21 were Low Tier Enjoyer, 7 were Starting a New Nation, and 16 were classified as Spader. 10 of them were assisting a new player or beginner. For Ground Arcade, every match was fully populated with 32 players. Of the 1,600 players, 29 of them were level 100. They accounted for only 1.8% of the players. 12 of them were classified as Seal Clubber, 14 were Low Tier Enjoyer, 1 was Starting a New Nation, and 2 were Spaders. 3 of these players were assisting a new player or a beginner. Just like before, every RAB match was fully populated with 32 players. Only 13 of them were level 100. They accounted for only 0.81% of the players, making it the least popular choice for level 100s. 5 of them were classified as Seal Clubbers, 5 were Low Tier Enjoyers, 1 was Starting a New Nation, and 2 were classified as Spaders. 3 of these players were assisting a new player or a beginner. Across all the games, I only saw 2 4-person squads that were entirely level 100. I only saw 1 3-person squad where all players were level 100. This means I only ran into stacked squads in about 1.5% of the games. On a wholesome note, of the 225 level 100s that I ran into, 24 of them were helping a player who was either new or low-level beginner. This is just over 1 in 10. To me personally, this was one of my more interesting concepts for a video, and I have something really special cooking, but it'll take a long time. In the meantime, I do videos like this a lot, whether finding which BR gets the most down tiers or finding out why millions of people play War Thunder. If that sounds interesting, make sure to check those out and tell me what I should make a video on next time. If you also found this interesting, hit like and subscribe, and thanks for watching.